So today, Andy shared with us this idea of having a reputation, how we are known and seen by others. And our reputation includes the things that we say to other people. People know us by how we talk about other people, how we talk to people, the words that we use, but also our actions, the things that we do, how we treat people, our choices. But God challenges all of us to actually have a reputation that is different than the world. In fact, he says you should look so different. You should treat people so differently and talk to people so differently that you almost look like aliens in this world. Let me show you. You see, let's imagine that this jar represents the world, how the world treats people, how the world talks about people, right? People gossip all the time and they think it's okay. People are rude and unkind to other people. People will do anything to get to the top, to be the best, no matter the cost in the world, even if it hurts someone else. I mean, just think about how people tell jokes about other people. And even if it hurts other people, as long as it gets a laugh and makes you feel good, it's all right. But that's how the world is. God calls us to have a reputation of love that looks so different than the world that people go, wow, having a relationship with Jesus changes you. You love people, you're kind, you respect people. We should look different than the world. But here's the thing, you guys. Our actions and our deeds, the things that we say, that isn't to earn our place with God. That isn't to repay God. We all know that Jesus came to the earth and he died on the cross for our sins. That is how we are free from sin. The problem is, some of us use this as an excuse to treat people poorly because we think, oh, if God already saved me and I'm no longer going to pay the penalty of my sin, then I can just go on and treat people however I want. If I'm nice to people one day, that's fine. But if I'm rude and mean and horrible to people the next, especially if it makes me uncomfortable, it's no big deal. But guess what? Today we were challenged that God says, no, you should have a reputation that is different than the world. Stop acting like the world and stop using the cross as an excuse to treat people however you want. You see, the hard thing for us, you guys, is that we live in the world. We live in this world, and it is hard sometimes to be different, even if we try. Sometimes fear makes us even to act like the world. Maybe at school, we're afraid to be different because we're afraid to get made fun of. Maybe we're afraid to talk about how we love our parents and how we try to obey. Maybe we're afraid to stand up for the kid on the playground who's getting teased because you don't want to get teased. Maybe you're afraid to be respectful or to not join in on the conversation that's disrespecting your teacher or gossiping because you're afraid that maybe people will look bad at you. Maybe they'll start making fun of you. Maybe you will actually feel like an alien and an outcast at your school or with your friends or with your family. But the problem is when we start acting like that, when we start letting our fear make us look like the world, we start looking like the world and it starts changing us. And look, we look like the world instead of looking different, instead of literally looking like God has changed our lives. We don't look any different than anyone else. But here's the thing, you guys. I don't want to make anyone just feel bad like, oh man, I'm so bad because I never am good at this or I'm really struggling with this. Here's the thing. None of us can be different on our own. It's not about being strong enough or smart enough or good enough. Every single one of us, we sin and we mess up. And just like we need God to take away our sin, we actually need Jesus to help us, to give us the strength. And so we need to pray. We need to talk to God. We need to ask him to come and help us to be different, to love people, to talk to people differently. We need him to come and help us to live differently. We can't do it on our own. We can't. That's why we're constantly messing up. But it's important that we recognize that we are representative of Jesus, that when people see us, we should be a reflection of the goodness and the love that God has given us. And here's the cool part, you guys. The cool part is that when we act differently, when we are known for having this reputation, and instead of just living in the world, when we go out into the world, when we go and we live in the world, guess what happens? The world changes. We can spread the goodness and the love of God to other people, and they too can go and experience the love of God. And this actually changes the world. Imagine if we looked so different from the world that people were drawn to the Jesus that changed us. Guess what's going to happen? More and more people are going to come and accept the goodness of who Jesus is. And in return, we go into the world and the world begins to change. God begins to change the hearts of the people around us. So today, I just want to encourage you, if you're struggling in this, go to God. Seek him, ask him for help, to not be afraid to be different, to not be afraid to be weird, to not be afraid to stand up and to love people, even when it's hard. That's all we can do, you guys, is try and turn to God. So today I challenge you, maybe think about an area where you're struggling. Where are you afraid and why are you afraid? And instead turn to God and ask him to help you, to stand up, to be different, to have a reputation that is known for your love.